Please continue.
Hello, Abdullah number 29. Welcome here in this mock interview.
Thank thank you, sir.
Uh, can you fix your camera a little bit so that we will be able to see your face correctly? At this time, you are living in Bangalore or Jaunpur?
Jaunpur.
Jaunpur. Uh, have you heard the name of Kunwar Pratap Singh? Some freedom fighter. Kunwar Singh he is known as Kunwar Singh also.
Yes, sir.
Have you
So he
heard
was
the
from.
name? Huh?
Yes, sir. He was in during the 1857 War of Independence from Bihar.
Uh-huh. And you are Kunwar Akash Singh.
Yes,
Is there any relationship with this Kunwar and that Kunwar?
sir. Other than the similarity of name, I don't see any
Hmm.
similarity.
I was just thinking that Kunwar is like some either it is a title or it is a caste title or something else. Uh, what do you say about it?
Sir, actually, my name was given. It was taken after my great grandfather, Parthnath Singh. So after his name,
Mhm.
only my name was kept. So that is why
Okay.
the name Kumar is attached to my name.
So in short, it is K.A. Singh, Mr. K.A. Singh.
Yes, sir. KAS.
Okay. K.A.S. Is
Yes,
your initial, but in a short title we can say K.A.S. K.A. Singh. Uh,
yes,
I was surprised to see your biodata. You did BTech from Kharagpur and you have
yes,
taken optional ophthalmology, no ophthalmology, no, anthropology, right?
yes, sir.
Uh, don't you think if you have selected anthropology and sociology during your BA course, then it would be better than going IIT Kharagpur and doing better there also, and then coming back to administrative service with the help of art subject. So don't you find it wastage doing 5 years and 4 years or 5 years whatsoever it may be? Uh, your BTech from IIT Kharagpur.
Sir, after 12th, anyways, I had to take a graduation subject. So thereafter, I chose to do engineering. So I don't see that I wasted my 4 years during engineering because I think when I enter into the civil services, I can use my knowledge of the engineering into the administration as well. And sir, whatever the analytical abilities that doing engineering has given me, I think that will help me in becoming a better civil servant. So I think
How
just taking out the
uh,
engineering, I don't see that as a wastage.
how analytical ability was developed by doing this course BTech?
The various amounts of the course content, including in the metallurgical engineering, for example, it showed me how to use computers into engineering. So it also helped me in developing the teamwork that I've done during my course in BTech. So other than that, I think uh, the logics that I've learned during my 4 years of engineering, I can apply it in the administration, for example, in the steel sector, in the nanotechnology domain, for example, I can apply those kinds of logic within the administration.
But towards casting, we have analyzed data of so many candidates, and we found that almost every candidate was from technology wing, and they have opted some paper, optional paper from social science or social behavior or art subject. So I think we should take graduation in art subject, and we can be more successful in our administrative examination. Will you like to suggest this to other people or not?
So that depends upon their abilities and their interest into the subjects. Anyways, to appear for the civil services examination, one has to be a graduate. So depending upon their
It,
interest,
mean-
they can take either engineering or the social sciences subjects.
it means you are having more interest in anthropology than engineering.
Sorry, sir.
It means that you were more interested in anthropology than engineering papers or courses.
Sir, after when thought of appearing for the civil services examination, I took a look at all the optional subjects. Metallurgy was not one of the subjects that is offered in the civil services examination. So, anyways, I had to take up a new subject. So, in that, when I saw the course content of anthropology, I really liked it because it tells us about the culture and about the human evolution and where the human race is headed. So, I think when I looked at the overall course content, I liked anthropology the most among all the available subjects, optional subjects. So, that is why I took anthropology.
When you are analyzing human evaluation, uh, it also needs ability to analyze or not.
Hello.
Are you listening me?
Yes, sir.
I was just asking. Anthropology is a subject which analyzes the evaluation of human being, and evaluation of
Yes.
human being needs ability of reasoning, ability of logic, ability of analysis. Uh, it is not the engineering by engineering or engineer measures of engineering and technology can assess the uh, oldness of that particular body or mummy or whatsoever it may be. But in anthropology, it's also we have to we have to think analytically. Uh, how engineering help you in this?
Sir, one is the natural progression that we see during the human evolution. That we can see, for example, even the use of metals. We can see how the human race has evolved using the use of metals. For example, if I see my connection with metallurgy and anthropology. So first, the humans started using stones, which was readily available. Then next across, we see the use of copper because that was readily available inside the earth, and it can be extracted very easily. And then when as the technology grew, then we see the use of iron. So we can say that because of the chemical abilities of extraction, the human race has evolved from Paleolithic to Chalcolithic to the Iron Age. So in that way, I think there is a link between engineering as well as anthropology.
Okay. Akash, you appeared in interview most probably 2 or 3 times. What were
Yes,
shortcomings in your interview?
sir, I did not see a lot of shortcomings. I think sir, I just missed by a few marks. That was mainly due to the mains, less marks in mains. So I don't see a lot of shortcomings in the previous interview.
Uh, and you belongs to Jaunpur,
Yes, sir.
and you lived in Jaunpur for so many years.
Sir, I've done my schooling from Sultanpur city and Kanpur.
Acha, you stayed in Jaunpur for how many years?
Uh, Sir, I'm staying to Jaunpur for the past 3 years after I left my job. And sir, initially during my childhood, I stayed in Jaunpur.
So, do you know something about Jaunpur?
Yes, sir. Jaunpur has both a rich historical past as well as in the present times. Also, it is a great center of Indo-Islamic, the Indian Islamic architecture. Also, we see in Jaunpur. It was established by Firoz Shah Tughlaq in the memory of his brother Jona Khan, and then after it was taken over by the Sharki dynasty. So, and in which uh, architectures like Atala Masjid were built. And Sir, Jaunpur is famous majorly for its perfume products, its maize and radish.
What is the beauty of Shahi Bridge?
Sir, it was built during the times of Akbar. which was commissioned by Akbar. And sir, even now it is being used, and contains small shops along the bridge, which is even today also many shopkeepers, they sell their products on the bridge itself.
You have a new bridge there in Jaunpur, but on the bridge, I don't found any shop at present. Is it right or wrong?
So there are small shopkeepers who sell on the bridge, but right now they may.
That's
I have not.
there is one more masjid. One is Atala, and other masjid is very famous masjid is there. Two, rather you can say two other masjids are there. Can you name those masjids?
So one is the Jhanjhari Masjid, the other is the Jama Masjid.
Very good. Uh, why Jhanjari Masjid is famous?
So it has a small windows of jali work present inside it. That is why it is called as the Jhanjhari Masjid.
Okay, now I hand over uh, your case to our next expert, who is sitting here, and Piyush ji, please take interview.
Uh, Excuse me, sir, Mr. Akash, please set your camera in such a way that we can see your head properly. This is sufficient. When I flash you full on screen, uh, it looks like that. Please set according to this. Yes, it's good.
the
You
the
can.
purpose of the purpose of this is to see your body movements and textures and your head movements. So yes, that's fine now.
Please continue, sir. You, sir, please
Thank
continue.
you, Chairman, sir. Hello, Akash.
Good afternoon.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Akash?
Yes, sir. I am able to hear you.
Okay. Name the neighboring districts of Jaunpur.
So the neighboring districts of Jaunpur are Varanasi, Sant Ravidas Nagar, Prayagraj, Pratapgarh, Sultanpur, and Gazipur, Azamgarh.
Gazipur or Azamgarh?
They're both Azamgarh and Gazipur.
Okay. And how many rivers are there in Jaunpur?
So Jaunpur has 5 rivers: Gomti, Pili, Basuhi, Varuna. Uh, one small river is Gangi River.
Which? The fifth one?
The Gangi River, we say, it's also Saryu River is also there.
Sai.
Sai.
Are there any industrial areas in Jaunpur?
So there's one on the Jaunpur Prayagraj highway, that is Satharia Industrial Park, which we have Hawkins making pressure cookers there, that plant, and also
Any other major
Coca-Cola
industry
bottling
there?
plant. So right now, so on the Jaunpur Varanasi highway also we have some bottling plants.
I'm talking about the SIDA only, Satharia Industrial Development Authority. Any other major industry apart from Hawkins?
So Pepsi, I think it's there, with some bottling plant, but I'm not very sure.
Why was industrial area planned in Satharia? What was so peculiar about Satharia? Was it a right decision?
Sir, earlier, sir, because of the proximity to Prayagraj, maybe it may be one of the reasons why it was planned there. So I'm not very sure of the reasons, other reasons.
How far is Lucknow from Satharia?
So, maybe around 200 kilometers.
Actually, it was planned because it was almost equidistant from Varanasi, Prayagraj, and Lucknow. But still, it couldn't flourish Many industries shut down. PepsiCo used to be there in early 2000, in the first decade, I think. Then it shut down. Why was this?
So one is the lack of infrastructure facilities because the road connectivity earlier used to be very bad from between Prayagraj and Jaunpur. So the skill development among the people were also very less, and so the resources availability also within the city of Jaunpur is also not adequate. That is why the got shut down.
Have you heard about the slogan Tilak Taraju or Talwar?
Sorry, sir, I have not heard.
It was recently news.
Sir, I'll look it up. I
Do you watch news?
yes, sir.
The government has cancelled Kavar Yatra. Do you think this is against the right to freely profess, practice, and propagate religion?
The recent reports that Supreme Court has taken the cognizance also about the Kamar Yatra. The government earlier was planning to do it, but then the Supreme Court said that the government cannot do it because keeping in view the situation, the right to life comes first, then the right to profess religion comes. Given the COVID situation and the impending third wave that is to come, so I think it's a good decision that we have postponed the Kamar Yatra.
Don't you think Kavar Yatra could have been allowed with certain restrictions by practicing social distancing? It could have been allowed.
Yes, sir. If we see, there were many attempts. The government had planned certain things to which the Kavan Yatra was to be planned. For example, bringing the Ganga River waters to the district themselves itself, and then at a lowest level, it could have been planned. But given that many times these Kavan Yatras they turn a lot of violent, and a lot of people also can join in, so it can become a health hazard, and therefore that is why it was planned cancelled. But it could have been made at a lower scale. Yes, it could have allowed.
Have you heard about the Statue of Unity?
Yes, sir.
What is the height of the statue?
Sorry, sir, I'm not aware.
Do you think that building monuments like Statue of Unity in a country where crores of citizens live below poverty line is correct?
So we should not see as that the money was being diverted from the citizen welfare to the building of the statues. And anyways, such statues also bring in a lot of economic returns when the people come and to visit these places. So I don't think that we should see it as diverting money from the social welfare to building of the statues. I think we should be building and honoring the freedom fighters of our country, and of course making such tourist hotspots through which the government can also earn back.
But right to life is first. There are poor people who are dying of hunger, and you are building Statue of Unity.
But so the money that
Is
the
it
government
correct?
earns the money that the government earns from people visiting the statue can ultimately be used for the welfare of the people themselves.
How many years will it take to collect the money which has been spent on building Statue of Unity? Any wild guess?
So it was said that it will take 50 to 100 years to. I'm not sure the exact numbers, but it was said that it will take a lot of years to actually invest to get the money back. But so I think it should not be seen as only one single-handed project, because when people come to visit a certain place, they just don't go to one of the places. They visit also the other places around one such structure. So I think the overall economy, the overall capital has to be looked at rather than just looking at the the money that's coming to the tickets.
In a country like India where ticketless traveling is rampant, do you think bullet trains will work? Is there any benefit of giving bullet trains to citizens?
Yes, sir, it will help in the industrial development as well as projecting the image of the country. Also, it will help. It will help in improving the infrastructure, and we do need a lot of spending on the infrastructure to revive the economy. Also, so I think that is one of the steps that can be taken. So, anyways, as far as the ticketless travel is concerned, that one section group of people which, anyways, the government is trying to stop. with measures like in the metro that we see that people can only enter the station once they have the ticket. So those kinds of measures can be taken to actually stop the ticketless travel. But at the same time, when we see the bullet train, of course, it's a good idea that we should invest into such projects, because any other developed country that we see also has high-speed railways. And if we see the overall speed of the railways in India, that is also not comparable to the other developed countries. So I think that we should invest into the bullet trains.
So that is all from my side. Shishir sir, please. Trivedi sir.
Thank you, sir. Hello, Akash, Abhyuday,
Sir.
029. Can you tell me what is silver economy? What is silver economy? Can you tell me? Silver economy. Can you describe? Gerontology, gerontechnology. Have you heard ever?
Gerontology.
Yeah.
Sir, I'm
Silver
not very sure. Can I
economy.
take a guess?
That is
Sir, yes.
for
Sorry, sir, I don't.
study of aged persons.
Yes.
For aged people. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me about this? Okay. Please describe.
The gerontology is this study of people who are study of aging, as we say.
Yeah.
Given that the demographic profile of India is changing, and even in the world, at the world stage also, we are seeing the developed countries are aging at a very faster rate. So therefore, we should plan our economy and our health services accordingly to the needs of the aged persons. For example, at the old age, we may need things like replacement of the ankle, this kind of investment in bone orthodontics and stuff like that, in which the bones may become fragile, or even the dementia and such kind of diseases occur at more in the older age, as well as the heart attacks, for example. So in that, we should invest more into these kinds of healthcare services, as well as for the economy. We see that the old age person, they are more reliant on the interest rates at the bank. So we should have a balance between the interest rates also, so that the economy can be balanced. That is the overall area of gerontology.
Very nice. Have you heard anything about new pension rules for civil servants? New pension rules for civil servants. For
So
defense
about the
personnel. Defense. Yeah. Okay, carry on.
So if they want to publish any article or their autobiographies after their retirement, they need to take permission. Otherwise, their pension can be stopped.
Yeah. Okay. Yaman sir, thank you, sir. It's all from my side. Please pass to the next panelist.
Thank you, Shishirji. Shekhar Khanna, please.
म्यूट है सर.
Kumar Akash, how are you? How are you
Yes, sir.
feeling today?
Sir, I'm feeling good.
You were talking about right to life, the very values of our constitution enshrined in Article 21 of the Indian Constitution, and you were also talking about the stand of the Supreme Court per se. But you are basically from Uttar Pradesh, and you must have seen that panchayat elections were held in the midst of second wave that was happening. How justified do you think that Supreme Court was acting as a mute spectator in this regard? Do you think panchayat elections should have been held at that point of time? What is your personal opinion?
So I feel any free and fair elections are bedrock of democracy, and that needs to happen. But so given that this peak at the second wave was in the midst when the elections were announced, so I think it would have been prudent if the elections were postponed by a few months. As you see, now the cases have come down, so I think now would have been a better time to organize elections rather
But
than at that
talking
time.
about free and fair election is one of the key merits of our democracy. A vibrant democracy is all about free and fair election. I'm not talking about free and fair election. I'm talking about right to life per se. Don't you think? The elections should have been postponed. What are the demerits that why the government has why the election commission has not taken such decisions on this regard? What was the reason behind? Do you have any idea about it?
So because the elections were due and it was to happen, so therefore that is why the election commission had announced. And when it was announced, even the EC did not know that the second wave would be so devastating. That is why it was announced. But I think it should have been postponed for a month or two.
It should have been postponed. According to you, it should have been postponed. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What do you know about contempt of court? Do you think the court is using power of contempt in a very wise manner, appropriate manner?
The contempt of court gives the power to the courts to punish the persons who are in contempt. The contempt can be of two types: civil contempt and the criminal contempt. In which criminal contempt is more serious because it leads to the ruining of the authority of the Supreme Court when the person does not publishes something which is scandalous to the authority of the Supreme Court. So there should be a balance
Only
between the
authority of the
powers of
Supreme Court or the High Court also? Only the
the High
authority
Court
of the
also.
Supreme. That means the entire
Both
judiciary.
Supreme Court, entire judiciary. Yes.
Okay.
So I
So, do you
believe
think the
both
government is using the very values of this? The Supreme Court has been right in using its contempt of the power of the contempt of the court. Wise in a wise manner. Is the Supreme Court using? Is it in a wise manner?
we should have certain checks and balances when it comes to the contempt of court. On one side, we should also see that no one can just write anything about the Supreme Court or any part of judiciary because the people have certain beliefs into it, and if such beliefs get eroded, then there will be anarchy would set in. So I believe there should be a balance between when the Supreme Court uses the contempt of court and the right of free and fair speech. That there should be a balance. So the Law Commission, for example, has recommended that a few of the older retired judges can actually a committee can be constituted, which can actually tell whether to take up the cases of contempt of court or not. So I think such steps can be taken to ensure that there is a balance between the contempt of court as well as the
My
freedom of
question was not
expression.
that. My question was not that. Do you think it was wise? The Supreme Court of India has been taking actions in regard to contempt of the court in a very wide and prudent manner. Don't you think it is the judicial overreach sometimes which has been seen in news?
Sir, it is up to the Supreme Court to interpret what is the level of
Yeah, I'm
level
talking
of
about your personal opinion. You are giving a very diplomatic answer. I'm talking about your personal opinion per se. I'm not talking about. Leave aside what has been. Your personal opinion. The Constitution works on the very principles of checks and balances, but at the same time, I think. What is your opinion about it? You must have read about Prashant Bhushan's case. Please tell me. Is the Supreme Court justified? Using its the power of contempt.
Yes, sir. I think it is justified to actually take up a case, but then we saw also the Supreme Court just finding ₹1 to Prashant Bhushan. So that is a token that the Supreme Court wanted to show that the mere contempt should not be there, or mere criticism of the court should not invite the contempt of court. But at the same time, there should be a sanctity maintained for the institution of judiciary. So I think that in that way, I think Supreme Court was justified in taking up the contempt of court.
Who has inspired you most in your life?
I would say my grandfather inspired.
Your grandfather. Any other inspiration you have got from your any of your family members or anybody else in your life?
So I definitely try to take inspiration from all the family members, but I think the most I would identify would be my grandfather.
Why Subhash Chandra Bose was in news this year?
So I think it was that the government decided to declassify some of the files regarding his.
Declassify some of the files this year. Are you sure? For
Sorry,
this
sir, I'm
reason,
not very
Subhash
sure.
Chandra Bose was in news.
Sorry, sir, I'm not able to recall that.
Okay, that's all for me, sir. From my side, I would pass on to Dr. R.S. Chauhan, sir.
Thank you, Sekhar sir. Welcome, Mr. Akash.
Yes, sir.
Are you getting me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Uh, I saw your detailed application form. Very impressive profile you have.
Thank you.
94.4% in 10th standard. Uh, Similarly, 97.8% in 12th standard, as well as you are the topper of 10th and 12th of your school. Uh, BTech from IIT Kharagpur, 9.34 CGPA. It's really good.
Thank you.
It's a clear cut increasing profile, 94, 97, 9.34. Similarly, and I saw you have taken physical education in 12th standard and left computer education, computer science, and some other options too. What was the reason to take the physical education? And don't you think uh, uh, in Indian education system, like Bihar board and Calcutta, I think it's in Calcutta board, social science subjects are also compulsory in 12th standard, but it's not in CBSE board as well, and in also in UP board. What is your opinion about that, and why you have taken physical education in 12th standard?
Uh, so one thing it was that physical education was very close to me because it involved subject matters like knowing about different types of games as well as physical exercises that I love. So that is why I took physical education, as well as that the course content of the physical education was less theoretical and more practical. That is why it attracted me to take the physical education. So, as far as the social sciences subjects are concerned, so definitely we should look upon this that policy that students should be free to choose whatever fields that they like and whatever subjects that they would like to study. So even the new education policy that the government is trying to bring in that also it says that even the student of sciences can take up the humanities subject and vice versa. I think that those kinds of steps should be promoted so that an overall personality of the student can be developed and his or her interest can be taken into account when she studies for the course.
Okay, and you have also worked in Flipkart from
Yes,
2014 to 2017 as an assistant manager, and
yes,
also you was getting handsome salary. But after 2017, you have you quit the job and decided to preparing for the such type of competitive exams, and you are definitely working good. uh, as you have worked in Flipkart, don't you feel such type of companies are crushing the local market? What is your opinion about that? These companies are crushing or not?
uh, so that is one of the views that many people subscribe to, that bringing in such huge companies will lead to closing of these brick and mortar shops and small shopkeepers. But sir, I think it is time for the small shopkeepers also to change with the times. As we saw during the pandemic, digital economy has helped a lot in people getting the resources. So even the smaller shopkeepers, they should also try to use the and leverage the digital platform that is available to them. Any shopkeeper can actually become a seller on these kinds of e-commerce websites like Amazon and Flipkart, and actually can boost its sales. So, sir, I think with time also the local shopkeepers also have to understand that it is now the time has come that they should also try to evolve in this new digital economy, and they can also increase their sales with this digital commerce. So I think it should be a mix of both the offline as well as online retail. That will be the future of the Indian sector that we see. That's why I think that should be the future move for these kinds of small shops.
Okay. Have you any strategy about that? How can uh, after be if you will become an IS officer, what you will do to revolve such rural India to be involved in such type of market, in online market? Have you any strategy for that?
Yes, sir. We can leverage the common service center that is present in the villages. So the shopkeepers can be set to be onboarded on such platforms, and the government has also started with in this process also, that people can actually order from the local service center that is present in their village. And sir, with things like for example Amazon, what it does, it has it signed an MOU with the TriFed, which leads to the tribal marketing, uh, which is working in the tribal marketing area. So the whatever the handicrafts that the tribals are making, they are able to sell it pan India and get a wide publicity also for their products. So I think, sir, those kinds of steps can be taken. Such kind of MOUs can be signed between the tribal organizations and these e-commerce companies, so that they can expand their reach all over India.
Okay, good.